North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
The president, again, as commander-in-chief, I think he felt it necessary to issue a very strong statement directly to North Korea. But I think what the president was just reaffirming is the United States has the capability to fully defend itself from any attack and defend our allies, and we will do so.
Well, that was Donald Trump's Secretary of State trying to decode the president's bellicose war rhetoric yesterday. But more mixed messages. Now, Trump's Twitter finger was twitching again this morning. So the president writing, "My first order as president was to renovate and modernize our nuclear arsenal. It is now far strong and more powerful than ever before. Hopefully, we will never have to use this power, but there will never be a time that we are not the most powerful nation in the world." And with North Korea now threatening to strike the U.S. territory of Guam, we want to welcome North Korean expert Tina Park from the Munk School of Global Affairs. So Trump had an opportunity today to actually calm things down, but then he sent out this tweet boasting about his nuclear arsenal. So did that do damage, or is that just helping the cause and the threat back to North Korea?
I think Mr. Trump's tweets in general have not been very helpful in terms of de-escalating tensions on the Korean Peninsula. North Korea likes to use extreme rhetoric to send out their messages. And we have the President of the United States who is very comfortable using late-night tweets as his main channel of communication. And that's frankly not doing much good in terms of showing a coherent American policy on North Korea. And often it sends mixed signals in terms of the credibility of his messages as well as what exactly it means, right? Often people wonder when Mr. Trump said, "Oh, it won't happen," after North Korea's announcement about ICBMs, people are wondering, well, it has happened not once but twice. So whenever I think Mr. Trump feels comfortable using Twitter as his channel, then we're left to wonder about what it means. And North Korea then uses the rhetoric to send their messages and retaliate.
And it's not just us trying to figure it out, it's his own inner circle trying to figure it out. You know, you've got the foreign secretary, the defense ministers, and then even world leaders are trying to figure out what is Trump planning in his head. And is there any way to realize what he's thinking?
I think we're seeing hints of what is going on in terms of Mr. Trump's inner circles and what his administration is intending to do. But we're also getting mixed messages from Mr. Tillerson, Ms. Haley, and Mr. Trump himself. So in terms of, you know, dealing with a regime like North Korea, which speaks with one voice, to be frank, and you have the United States with very confused positions and their policies on North Korea. It's certainly not helping Washington in terms of their bargaining power against North Korea. And from the policy perspective, what we need is a long-term engagement and long-term strategy rather than lots of rhetoric that we've seen from Mr. Trump.
Why do you think he's doing this? Why do you think he's using these words, fire and fury, right now? I mean, yes, we've seen missile tests, and this leak came out in the Washington Post about possibly a nuclear head that the North Koreans may possess. Is this an overreaction from Trump, or is this calculated?
I think Mr. Trump likes to use, you know, extreme language in general to express his feelings. And that's great, but when you're dealing with North Korea, which is a regime that has a very significant military capability, and, you know, there's a lot of room for misinterpretation when Mr. Trump uses terms like fire and fury. We're just in a very risky situation. And if the ultimate purpose of his message is to deter North Korea from developing nuclear weapons and testing intercontinental ballistic missiles, the result we're getting is the exact opposite of what a successful deterrence would do. So it's very troublesome in terms of the tone it's sending to North Korea, as well as the content of the message that he's sending out.
How should our government be reacting to this?
I think the Canadian government has had a long strategic interest in terms of peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula. We were one of the main contributors when the Korean War broke out and sent the third largest troop contingent to Korea. So Canada and Korea certainly have very significant relationships in terms of trade and defense and immigration as we speak. In terms of moving forward, Canada is known for its diplomacy and its bargaining power when it comes to convening multilateral talks for peace. And I think this is a time when the Canadian government could step up and actually show the world what it means that Canada is now back, especially because what we're hearing from the United States is not very optimistic in terms of their plan for engagement with North Korea. And the need for peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula is greater than ever before because of what is at stake.
So should we as Canadians be worried about a nuclear war breaking out?
In my personal opinion, no, because I think there's too much at risk for all parties involved in terms of an actual military engagement between North Korea and the United States. We should remember that there are over 28,000 U.S. troops stationed in South Korea, and the location of the Korean Peninsula, right at the center of Northeast Asia, is such that neighboring countries like Japan, China, and Russia would not want to see another war breaking out. So, in terms of what is at stake, South Korean government certainly doesn't want another war. North Korea knows that if it should attack any part of the United States, then the United States government will also retaliate rapidly, and there are enough conventional weapons and troops in place before they could, comfortably go ahead and launch an attack. So I think we're far from an actual warfare.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us, and let's
Thanks
keep
for
in mind
having
with
me.
all the rhetoric, the Olympics are in Korea in the early New Year, so this could be part of Kim Jong-un's plan as well to ramp that up. So Tina, thanks for joining us from the Munk School of Global Affairs.